Hello guys, welcome back to our session. So in this session, we'll be discussing RC1 of slot 1 CAT 2020, right? So the RC1 of CAT 2020 that came in slot 1, right? So what I'll do is, I'll be reading the RC for you once, right? So that you can understand and comprehend the passage along with me. And this after reading the passage, after reading the whole RC passage, I'll be explaining the questions with the proper explanation. In case you have any doubt, please feel free to comment down below. I'll be more than happy to address and acknowledge all your doubts, right? So just without any further ado, let's start this session, right? So the passage, this passage was all about anarchism, right? So what was anarchism, how it was formed, and what was the implications that happened. So this is what it was all about, right? So let's start. I'll read every line, right? The word anarchy comes from the Greek anarchia, right? So anarchia, the word anarchy comes from the Greek anarchia, meaning contrary to authority or without a ruler. So we know that anarchy means something like without a in Hindi we call it arajakta. Like there is a no, when there is a no government, when there is an absence of government, that is when we call it anarchy, right? So contrary to authority or without a ruler, and was used in derogatory sense until 1840. So it was used in derogatory sense, in a negative sense, in a bad sense, until 1840, when it was adopted by Pierre-JosephProudhon, right? Pierre-Joseph Proudhon, to describe his political and social ideology. So it was used in derogatory sense until when? 1840, when it was adopted by Pierre-Joseph Proudhon to describe his political and social ideology. So you got the meaning of these 4 lines, right? Next, Proudhon argued that the organization without government was both possible and desirable. So now you have a point. Proudhon argued that organization without government, no absence of government, was both possible and desirable. That's in the evolution of political ideas. Anarchism can be seen as the ultimate projection of both liberalism. So it can be seen as an ultimate projection of both liberalism and socialism. Yes, you're getting the point. Next, and the differing strands of anarchist thought can be related to their emphasis on one or the other of these. Yes, so I mean, like this last from here you can see, it means that the evolution of political ideas, in the evolution of political ideas, anarchism can be seen as an ultimate projection of what things, both liberalism and socialism, and the differing stands of anarchist thought can be related to their emphasis on one or the other of these. So you get the point. We talk about anarchy, what Joseph Proudhon, how he used it. He said that it was possible and desirable to form a government, an organization without a government. Yes, so it was the paragraph 1. Let me continue with paragraph 2, right? Yes. So let us move on to paragraph 2. Historically, anarchism arose not only as an explanation. Yes, historically, you can read it again slowly. Go slowly. At this point of time, if you have just started solving RC, don't care about speed. Gradually, you'll pick up the speed. Yes, historically, anarchism arose not only as an explanation of the gulf, between the rich and the poor. So there was a gap. Gulf means what? There was a gap between rich and poor. So this is why anarchism arose. Yes, so this is why anarchism arose. So historically, anarchism arose not only as an explanation of the gulf between the rich and the poor in any community, and of the reason why the poor have been obliged to fight for their share of common inheritance. So this point is saying that the anarchism arose because there was a wide gap, there was a gulf between rich and the poor, and poor had to fight for their share of the it's given there, they had to fight for their it's given somewhere there, Radical answer. Yeah, they were obliged to fight for their share of a common inheritance. Actually, they also wanted some share, right? So this is why anarchism arose. So we are explaining, we are reading each and every line, understanding the meaning. Without understanding the any line, we cannot move forward. Yes. So the my main motive is not to tell you how to solve a passage, but also how I solve a passage. See, you might be thinking that we are going too slow, but yes, I'm explaining. That is why I have to take it a bit slow. Yes. Next, what went? So let me continue with where. Yes, but as a radical answer to the question, what went wrong? Yes, that followed the ultimate outcome of the French Revolution. So yes, we are inferring a point. French Revolution, we are talking about French Revolution. Yes, there was a gap between rich and poor. That is why there was anarchism. Something happened in French Revolution. Yes, let's continue. Let's move ahead. It had ended not only with the reign of terror. Yes, it had ended not only with the reign of terror and the emergence of newly rich ruling classes. What? We are talking about French Revolution. It had ended not only with a reign of terror, and the emergence of a newly rich ruling caste, but with a new adored emperor Napoleon Bonaparte strutting through his conquered territory. So what does this word strutting means? Strutting means marching proudly. I mean, when he won, when he like captured any territory, he marched proudly through that territory. So in the last, if you'll see in the last paragraph, we were talking about, the passage was talking about the French Revolution. Yes, and it had ended not only with a reign of terror and the emergence of newly ruling rich class. Yes, caste, but with a new adored emperor, French Bonaparte, strutting through his conquered territory. So we got the point. We are reading each and every line. Next paragraph. The anarchists and their precursors means their ancestors. The anarchists and their precursors were unique on the political left in affirming that workers and peasants, grasping the chance that arose to bring the end to the centuries of exploitation and tyranny, were inevitably betrayed by the new class of politicians whose first priority was to re-establish a centralized state power. Yes, we have to read this paragraph again to know the meaning. Yes, the anarchist and their precursors, their ancestors were unique. Yes, on the political left in affirming that workers and peasants, we are talking about workers and peasants, grasping the chance that arose to bring an end to centuries of exploitation. So that arose to bring an end to centuries of exploitation and tyranny. Exploitation and tyranny were inevitably betrayed. See, betrayed is a key word. Yes, if you read the question, we'll see that there is an inference drawn from this paragraph, where inevitably betrayed by the new class of politicians whose first priority was to re-establish a centralized state. So betrayal is the thing. Who betrayed them? New class of politicians. Yes, let's continue. After every revolutionary uprising, usually won at heavy cost. Yes, after every revolutionary uprising, usually won at a heavy cost for ordinary populations. Yes, we know. Yet again, let me read it again. After every revolutionary uprising, usually won at a heavy cost for ordinary populations, the new rulers had no hesitation. In applying violence and terror, a secret police and a professional army to maintain their control. So again, this paragraph talks about that the like peasants and workers, they were betrayed by the new ruling classes. Yes, because they was betrayed by the new ruling classes, and usually one at a heavy cost. The new rulers, again from here, the new rulers had no hesitation in applying violence and terror, a secret police and a professional army to maintain their color. So again we see that the poor were being dominated. They were being they had been betrayed. They again were being dominated. Yes, let's continue. For anarchists, the state itself is the enemy. See this line. For anarchists, the state itself is the enemy. देश ही उसका दुश्मन है. Yes, and they have applied the same interpretation to the outcome of every revolution of the 19th and 20th century. Yes, so there is a good point. For anarchists, the state itself is the enemy, and they have applied the same interpretation to the outcome of every revolution of 19th and 20th century. You are getting the point? This is not merely because every state, let me change it. This is not because every state keeps a watchful and sometimes punitive eye. Punitive eye means a disciplinary eye. That like a penal, you can say a penal code, penal decision. Like if you'll do something, you will be punished. So let me just go back again. We were talking about just a minute. We were talking about this is not merely because every state keeps a watchful and sometimes punitive eye. So keeps a watchful and punitive eye, नजर रखती है on its dissidents. Dissidents means what? Dissidents का मतलब होता है जो लोग चैलेंज करते हैं, जो लोग अगेंस्ट जाते हैं. ठीक है, जो लोग रूल्स को चैलेंज करते हैं या रूल तोड़ने वाले या गवर्नमेंट के अगेंस्ट में जाने वाले या बोलने वाले. ठीक है, कीप्स अ वॉचफुल एंड समटाइम्स प्यूनिटिव आई ऑन इट्स डिसिडेंट्स, बट बिकॉज एवरी स्टेट प्रोटेक्ट्स द प्रिविलेज ऑफ द पावरफुल. सी देयर इज अ पॉइंट. बट बिकॉज एवरी स्टेट प्रोटेक्ट्स द प्रिविलेज ऑफ स्टेट एंड प्रिविलेज ऑफ द पावरफुल. हर देश अपने पावरफुल लोगों का प्रिविलेज को बचाता है, संभाल के रखता है. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट. The mainstream of anarchist propaganda for more than a century, the mainstream of anarchist propaganda for more than a century has been anarchist communism. Yes, which argues what? Argues anarchist communism argues, which argues that property in land, natural resources and the means of production should be held in mutual control by local communities. So this point from here, just again underlining the part which you have to look, which argues that property in land, natural resources and the means of production should be held in mutual control by local communities federating for innumerable joint purposes with other communes. Yes, so we are talking about the all the resources, all the land should be held in mutual control by whom? By local communities. Federating means what? Uniting for innumerable joint purposes, using for it as in a joint purposes with other communes means communities. Yes, let's continue. Now you have to start from here. It differs from state socialism in opposing the concept of any central authority. Again, it differs from state socialism in opposing the concept of any central authority. So again we are opposing any central authority. Yes, next. Some anarchists prefer to distinguish between anarchist communism. Some anarchists prefer to distinguish between anarchist communism and collective communism. Collective anarchism. Let me read it again. Yes. We should start from Some anarchists prefer to distinguish between anarchist communism and collectivist anarchism in order to stress the obviously desirable freedom of an individual. Desirable freedom. Keyword. This is the keyword. Freedom of an individual. Freedom of an individual or family to possess the resources needed for living, while not implying the right to own the resource needed by others. So we are talking about the freedom of individual. This is the main point. So yes, this is a part which you have to look. And if when we'll be reading the questions, we'll see that there is a reference given to this word. Yes. Let me change this slide. Last paragraph. Yes. There are unsurprisingly several traditions. Yes, there are several traditions of individualist anarchism. There are several traditions of individualist anarchism. One of them deriving from the conscious egoism of the German writer Max Steiner, 1806 to 56, and another from a remarkable series of 19th century American figures who argued that he argued that, let us read the next sentence, that will be very important for us. Argued that in protecting our own autonomy, what is your own autonomy? Your own freedom. In protecting our own autonomy and associating with others. Protecting our own autonomy and associating with others. Yes, in associating with others for common advantages, we are promoting the good for all. Yes. So like they argued that in protecting our own autonomy and associating with others for common advantages, we are ultimately promoting the good of all. So अपना भी ऑटोनॉमी को बचाना है एंड एसोसिएट भी करना है दूसरे से. ये इसका इनडायरेक्ट क्या रिजल्ट निकलेगा? वी आर प्रमोटिंग द गुड ऑफ ऑल. ठीक है. लास्ट लाइन. ठीक है, देखते हैं. इसे इरेज कर देता हूं मैं थोड़ा. यस. These thinkers differed from the free market liberals. Again देखो, जो ये thinkers हैं, these thinkers differed from free market liberals in their absolute mistrust of American capitalism and their emphasis on mutualism. So there was a mistrust. These thinkers differed from their free market liberals in their absolute mistrust. There is a difference. They differed from free market liberals. Yes, they differed from free market liberals in their absolute mistrust of American capitalism and their emphasis on mutualism. So there is a difference between them. Yes. So now you have read the passage. I hope that I have explained you properly each and every line. Let us look at the questions. Yes. Sometimes it is very challenging for us to explain the passage, but I actually wanted you to read along with me. Yes, so that it will be easy for us to look at the passage. Yes, because many of the students will not be able to read fast. That is why I wanted to take it a bit slow. Yes. So question number 1. Question number 1 says, I hope you have read the passage. See, if you found a bit difficult to read the passage here, there will be a link given in the video. You can download the question, download the PDF. First read the questions, first read the passage, solve the question, then you can look at this video. Yes. So there is also a different option. Yes. Question number 1. Which one of the following best expresses the similarity? See, similarity between whom? American individualist. Again, the last paragraph of this passage was talking about this topic. The similarity between American individualist, anarchist and free market liberals, as well as the difference between the former and the latter. So what you have to find? You have to first find the similarity between whom? American individualist, anarchist and free market liberals. First you have to find a similarity. Then you have to find a difference between these two. You have to find one similarity, you have to find one difference. Let us look at the options. both reject regulatory power of the state, but the former means what? The individual, American individualist anarchist. The former favor a people state. And in the former, यहाँ पे बोल रहा है कि जो former था, the American individualists, they favor a people state, while the latter means the free market liberals. The free market liberals favor state intervention markets. Favor state intervention in markets. So you are getting the point? Next question. Both prioritize individual autonomy. Both prioritize individual autonomy, but the former also emphasizes mutual dependence while the latter do not do so. Yes. Question option number 3. Both are sophisticated arguments for capitalism, but the former argue for a morally upright capitalism, while the latter argue that the market is only morality. Yes. Both are founded on the moral principles. Were they both founded on moral principles? Was there any inference or any line that was talking about that these both were founded on the moral principles of altruism? So let us again read this line. Both are founded on the moral principles of altruism, but the latter conceive of the market. Let me again erase this. Both are founded on the moral principles of altruism, but the latter conceive of the market as force too mystical for the former to comprehend. So choose your options wisely. You have to choose your option. I hope you have chosen your answer. Now let me discuss the answer. Yes. What was the difference? What was the similarity and what was the difference? Yes. So answer is like if you'll go back to the passage, like it's given here, American individualists who argued that in protecting our own autonomy and associating with others for common advantages, we are promoting the good of all. These thinkers differed from, again there is a difference from free market liberals in their absolute mistrust of American capitalism and their emphasis on mutualism. So here, if you read this paragraph once again, you will be able to figure out the answer. What is the answer? So yes, the answer is yes, both prioritize individual autonomy. Both prioritize individual autonomy. हर एक विशेष व्यक्ति की आज़ादी होनी चाहिए. Yes, both prioritize individual autonomy, but the former means what? The American individualist anarchist, but the former also emphasize mutual dependence, like एक दूसरे का साथ. ठीक है, former यानी जो American individualist anarchist थे ये बोले there should be a mutual dependence, while the latter do not do so. मतलब latter क्या थे? Free market liberals. फ्री मार्केट मीन्स व्हाट? ये बोले थे कि हम किसी पर डिपेंड नहीं होंगे. ठीक है, सो दिस इज द आंसर. अगेन इफ यू हैव एनी डाउट यू कैन कमेंट डाउन बिलो, यू कैन आर्ग्यू विथ मी. यस, आई लव टू आर्ग्यू विद व्हेन इट कम्स टू सॉल्विंग दिस क्वेश्चंस. यस, लेट अस लुक एट क्वेश्चन नंबर 2. Question number 2 is the author makes all of the following arguments in the passage except. So I mean in this 4 options, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 options will be wrong, that is not inferred in the passage, and all the 3 will be right. So let us read it quickly. Individualist anarchism is actually constituted of many streams, all of which focus on autonomy of the individual. Yes, there was a line. Anarchism obviously talks about the autonomy of the individual. In the last questions also, in the last question itself we saw there was a point that the American individualists were favoring the autonomy of the individual. Yes, so this line is definitely correct. Next line. The popular perception of anarchism as espousing means what? Adopting. Sorry, let me just. To espousing means to adopt. Espousing right? So there is a word, you need to enhance your vocabulary also. The popular perception of anarchism as espousing lawlessness and violence comes from the mainstream mistrust of collectivism. So was there any point or any line given in the passage that showed us that the perception of anarchism as adopting the lawlessness and violence? यहाँ पे तो कोई पॉइंट मेरे को नहीं दिखा था कि कहीं पे लॉलेसनेस को अडॉप्ट करना है या वायलेंस को अडॉप्ट करना है, ये एनार्किज्म का मतलब होता है. एनार्किज्म का तो मतलब था इंडिविजुअल की ऑटोनॉमी. एनार्किज्म का मतलब था जहाँ स्टेट का इंटरफेरेंस ना हो, जहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट का एब्सेंस हो. सो आई होप दिस वन इज रॉन्ग, ठीक है, बट मैं इसे हाईलाइट कर दे रहा हूँ. दिस वन इज द आंसर, बट आगे भी पढ़ लेते हैं. फॉर एनार्किस्ट द स्टेट इज द एनिमी बिकॉज ऑल स्टेट्स अप्लाई वायलेंस एंड टेरर to maintain their goal. Yes, दिया हुआ था. To protect the privilege of powerful. Every state implement violence and terror to maintain their control. Yes, ये तो दिया ही हुआ था. Anarchist. Last, the failure of the French Revolution was because of its betrayal by the new class of politicians who emerged from it. ठीक है, दिया भी हुआ था. Yes, Napoleon Bonaparte का जहाँ पे जो पैराग्राफ में हमने देखा था, we saw there was an inference given that the new class of rulers actually betrayed their peasants. So ये भी लाइन दिया हुआ था. So easily we can figure out the answer is 2. ठीक है, क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 पे आते हैं. Excuse me. Question number 3. Yes, this is interesting. According to the passage, what is the one idea that is common to all forms of anarchism? Yes, what is the common idea of anarchism? You have read the passage. Just read. Let us read each and every options. There is no idea common to all form of anarchism. Yes, is it there is no idea? Let us look at. That is why it is anarchy. So there is no idea, that is it is anarchy. Well, anarchy itself means the absence of government. Anarchism means there should be no government. Anarchism means an organization without an authority. Yes, so it has an idea. So according to the passage, what is the one idea that is common to all forms of anarchism? This is wrong, totally wrong. This is absurd. They all focus primarily on the power of the individual. They all focus primarily on the power of individual. Yes, we can infer indirectly that yes, every form of anarchism power on the form of individual. But was this the main idea? You have to find the one idea that is common. So let us read it. Let us read option number 3. They all derive from the work of Pierre-JosephProudhon. No. Pierre-JosephProudhon, the inference was given that it was used in derogatory sense until 1840. ये बोला गया था ना, 1840 तक में derogatory sense में यूज किया गया था, पर इतना ही inference दिया गया था, तो ये भी गलत हो जाएगा. ठीक है, so गलत क्या वो 1 और 3 तो गलत हो गया. Now either 2 will be the answer or 4 will be the answer. ठीक है, 4 पढ़ लेते हैं. They are all opposed to the centralization of power in the state. Yes, definitely. Anarchism means opposing to the centralization of power. There should not be a body to control. Yes, so the main idea of anarchism is defined by this point 4, not by point 2. Yes, though point 2 has some influence, it is stated correctly, but that is not the main idea of anarchism. The main idea of anarchism is shown by option number 4. Yes, so 4 should be the answer. Question number 4. Question number 4 is, the author believes that the new ruling class of politicians betrayed the principles of French Revolution, but does not specify in what way. He does not specify in what way. Yes, they were betrayed by the new ruling classes, but he does not specify. Yes, so I mean, the author believes that the new ruling class of politicians betrayed the principles of French Revolution, but does not specify in what way. Yes, though the new ruling class betrayed its peasants, but no, it is not mentioned how. I mean, it's not specified in the passage. So, in the context of the passage, which statement below is likeliest explanation of that betrayal? Yes. So first, The new ruling class rode power on the strength of the workers' revolutionary anger, but they then turned to oppress that very class. That can be the answer. It can be the answer. But let us read other options as well. The anarchists did not want a new ruling class, but were not politically strong to stop them. I don't think so. 3. The new ruling class was constituted mainly of anarchists. The new ruling class was mainly constituted of anarchists who were against the destructive impact of revolution on the market. Market? No, it's totally wrong. It can be easily eliminated. This option number 3 does not make any sense. The new ruling class struck a deal with the old ruling class. There was no line in the passage that talked about a deal between them. So totally wrong. So answer is option number 1. Why? I hope you can figure out why 1 should be the answer. Because the new ruling class rode to power on the strength of the workers. Yes, उनका एंगर जो वर्किंग क्लास थी उनके एंगर का फायदा उठा के वो पावर में आए, ठीक है, बट देन टर्न टू ऑपरेस दैट वेरी क्लास, फिर वापस उन्हीं के पावर के कारण आए और उन्हीं को फिर वापस प्रेस करने लगे, ठीक है. तो जो नया रूलिंग क्लास आया था फ्रेंच रेवोल्यूशन में वो क्या था, दैट वाज लाइक उन्हें सपोर्ट मिला वर्कर क्लास से, ठीक है, रिच और जब गैप था रिच और पुअर के बीच में, फिर जब वो पावर में आ गए तो जिस क्लास के कारण उन्हें पावर में आने पड़ा उन्हीं को वापस ऑपरेस करने लगे थे. बिकॉज लाइन दिया था एवरी स्टेट प्रोटेक्ट्स द प्रिविलेज ऑफ देयर पावरफुल पीपल. सो डेफिनेटली 1 हो जाएगा आंसर, ठीक है. आई होप कि मैं सही से आपको एक्सप्लेन कर पा रहा हूँ, ठीक है. क्वेश्चन नंबर 5, लास्ट क्वेश्चन, ठीक है, इंटरेस्टिंग है, ठीक है, ऐसा क्वेश्चन आता है, ठीक है. चलो क्वेश्चन नंबर 5 बोल रहा है, ऑफ द फॉलोइंग सेट्स ऑफ कॉन्सेप्ट्स आइडेंटिफाई द सेट दैट इज कंसेप्चुअली क्लोजेस्ट टू द कंसर्न्स ऑफ द पैसेज. ठीक है, मतलब यहाँ पे देखना है कि हर एक वर्ड जो यूज किया गया इन टर्म्स ऑफ द पैसेज, क्या हर एक वर्ड इस पैसेज का जिस्ट समरी खुद पे डिफाइन करता है कि नहीं. ठीक है, तो देखो फर्स्ट बोल रहा है एनार्किज्म बिट्रेयल पावर स्टेट. ठीक है, अभी समझ में नहीं आता, देखते हैं, अभी एलिमिनेट करेंगे. रेवोल्यूशन स्टेट स्ट्राइक एगोनिज्म. सी रेवोल्यूशन नहीं होगा, पैसेज में एनार्किज्म तो होना ही चाहिए बिकॉज ये पूरा का पूरा पैसेज एनार्किज्म पे था, तो रेवोल्यूशन गलत हो जाएगा. ठीक है, सेकंड पॉइंट गलत है क्योंकि कहीं भी एनार्किज्म को हाईलाइट नहीं किया गया. एनार्किज्म एक बहुत बड़ा पॉइंट था, पूरा पैसेज उसी के आगे पीछे रिवॉल्व करता है, राइट. 3 इज रेवोल्यूशन स्टेट प्रोटेक्शन लिबरल्स. नहीं, यहाँ भी एनार्किज्म इज नॉट प्रेजेंट हियर. 4 इज एनार्किज्म स्टेट इंडिविजुअल फ्रीडम. अब यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा आपको ध्यान देना पड़ेगा. देखो anarchism is present in these two, present in 1 as well as 4, but 1 does not talk about the individual autonomy. Autonomy means what? Individual freedom. So definitely 4 will be the answer. It carries the essence, it carries the gist of the whole paragraph. So I hope that my way of explaining the passage is very feasible, very likable to you, and you were able to understand and comprehend the gist of the passage. Yes, so I hope if you have got any doubts, you'll be commenting. I'll be more than happy to address it. So just we should end this session right here. So we'll meet in the another session. Till then, happy learning and bye for now.